Hi. No, there's no sound. Sorry, did you see my note? Just give me a sec. Whenever I have an appointment with that doctor, she's my oncologist from Vegas. I consider myself cancer free, but she's a very loving, kind doctor, and I just get emotional. It's all fine. Everything's fine. I just wanted to get a second opinion on my current treatment, which is the doctor here wants to keep me on the very high dose hormone blocker for 5 years, which is generally recommended unless you have side effects. And I have a lot of side effects, and I really am wanting to go off it at the end of this year, which means I will go out of menopause, back to my period, and hopefully have some better mood and things like this. But I just wanted to get a second opinion, and she told me what I thought she was going to say, which is you have to weigh it based on, she thinks there's probably just a little bit of benefit to staying on the Lupron, but you have to weigh it against the side effects that you're having. And so I decided that I do want to stop in November once it's been 2 years for me being on this one particular medication. And then I'll go back into the world of menstruation, but I'll still be on tamoxifen, which is a drug that will still protect me a bit as far as my estrogen level goes, since the cancer that I had was estrogen positive, meaning it like feeds off of estrogen. And so I feel comfortable with this decision. I'm trying to find why I'm crying. Why do I always cry when I'm with her? When I talk to her, I don't know. I think it's because I was so scared, and she was so loving and kind. Her name is Dr. Karen Jacks. So if you happen to be in Vegas and need an oncologist, she's fantastic. But she was my support through all of this. And so I guess it's just kind of like a little bit like a mom in a way. Like, I have an amazing mom, but this is, if you feel that way about your doctor, she got me through it. Of course, my mom did too, but she really got me through it medically. And I've been wanting to see her for months. And Vegas is a really busy town for cancer. And so it's so hard to get an appointment with her. And I had this appointment scheduled last 2 months ago. And then the day before my appointment, they had to move me up here to April. So I've been waiting for this appointment forever. And then, of course, they're late because doctors always run late. Sorry for crying. I just need a minute. I said to her at the end, I feel like cancer is behind me now, which is a feeling that I never I couldn't see when I was in cancer. In the treatment, I couldn't see it. I couldn't imagine that it would be over at some point. And now it is. And I hear from other people who are also going through breast cancer, and they're so scared and they're so confused. And I know how it feels. And it's just incredible to think that there could be a moment where you see it as your past, like something that happened to you, something you survived and truly came out stronger for. It's still there a little bit. So sorry. Just bear with me. So it's a mix of loving her and having her be my doctor and getting to see her again. And it's a mix of it being over and me getting to make decisions finally to move past it completely out of the sorry, but the hell of hormone blocking. I said, I'm sure what I'm going through weight wise and stuff is such an indication of menopause and what menopause is like. And she was like, well, hold on a sec. It's actually not what most women go through. We threw you into menopause. It's like most women get a 5-10 year span of going into menopause and the change, right? But they did this within a few months for me. Just bam, no more period, everything's done. And that really kind of hit me like, wow, yeah, it's been it's been a lot. And I think I'm also crying because I'm thinking about, wait a minute. I hadn't even considered this yet, but wait a minute, could actually feel pretty good and normal at the end of this year. Once I've gone off that, I could get back to being normal instead of accepting menopause and being suddenly done. And this is it. Okay, I need a sec. I gotta go clean this up for a sec. Please bear with me. I will be right back. I promise. Okay, here we are. Sorry. I put this note up for you so you guys would see why I was muted on the phone. I appreciate you all bearing with me while I went through that very powerful moment in my life, clearly. Um, uh, yeah, some amazing notes from you. Thank you so much, Linda. It's been over 20 years for me. I took a chance and didn't even go on tamoxifen, all of that. Yeah, lots of stuff. I actually believe the opposite about tofu and soy. And I do have it. So I never used to have it before, and I got breast cancer too. So, um, oh, this is so sweet, Blanca. I'm so glad I get to know you through your channel. Very appreciative of being able to show the vulnerability. Yeah. And this one, um, what was it? Where did you say that? Susan says, where did that one go? Way to feel your emotions, right? On camera in front of everybody. That's what we do, right? When we have those emotions, let's just let them come. Let's process them. Thank you for processing them with me and all these amazing, loving. Thank you so much. You guys are amazing. Nah, I got this. Yeah, so I get to actually have another appointment with her. I can keep continuing to see her. So, Diana says, so happy to be catching this live. I'm not sure if you saw the beginning of this, Diana, but I'm glad you're here anyways. Even if I had to go through some emotion for a moment there, but let's get into it. I have about an hour, and then I have to go to a private coaching call with a client. Today is a really, really great lesson. I love this one. And I talk about this a lot in my private coaching. I talk about it a lot in the Eat to Live family. It comes up so much with my private clients. And yeah, you missed something, Diana. You'll want to watch the beginning of this. I was actually on a follow-up appointment with my oncologist about my previous breast cancer, and I had a big emotional moment. So, yeah. Okay. So here we go. All or nothing thinking. Why is this important? I know that every single one of you on this call has experience with all or nothing thinking. Because if you're following me, you're like me, and that means, and I have had so much all or nothing, okay? Let's see, how high can I write? I can go a little higher. All or nothing. All right, so let's just like look at all or nothing in general, see what that kind of means, what that sort of means, right? I always like to do these little circles. So we're going to say all is like, oh, we're getting everything right. 100% right. Right? And then something happens, throws us off track, and we're like, screw it, might as well not do anything. Right? So it's either this or it's this. And I love to use these circles because so we can just get a visual of this, right? And so I'm talking about healthy eating and perhaps weight loss, but this really like, this goes with everything that we experience in life. Exercise, working out, right? Budgeting, doing your taxes on time. Like when we get discouraged, we tend to just say, forget it. I'm not going to do anything, right? Yeah. And Tanya is agreeing. That same kind of a mindset comes up. And when we're a Nutritarian, which is what I typically talk about, this Eat to Live diet from Dr. Furman. The thing is, the Nutritarian diet is engineered to be perfect, right? Like I wouldn't say perfect, but he uses the word superior all the time. You ever notice that? superior nutrition. Like we're talking cream of the crop, right? The top, as close as you, optimal, as close as you can get to perfection, right? What is the perfect human diet kind of a thing? And so the way that this is talked about is that there is a bit of a fear kind of scarcity thing that if I don't get it all right, I'm going to get cancer, or I'm going to get, heart attack, or I'm going to have I won't have the best health if I don't get it all right. So then we start to make all these lists, and the lists have been given to us by not only Dr. Furman, but many of the other sort of plant-based doctors, but they all have their own take on the list. Some people say whole foods plant-based is good enough. Some people say no salt, no sugar, no oil. Some people say got to have tons of potatoes, lots of starches, right? And so we all sort of start, once we get in this place, we start to get confused because it's like, well, which is it? First of all, there's all this confusion. And then it's like, once we pick one, we got to do this and this and this and this every single day, right? Like I'm talking about Dr. Greger's Daily Dozen. We're talking about the G bombs. We're talking about supplements. We're talking about exercise, sleep, blah, blah, blah. There's like a million things that we have to do in order to get this perfect superior health, right? This optimal health. So just by nature of who we're listening to, we start to put in ideas about perfection and being optimal and being perfect, right? Now, there is nothing wrong with Dr. Furman's diet. It's a very healthy diet. I love it. It's great. It makes me feel amazing. I truly believe it is sort of that top of the chart here. I do believe that. But I also know what it's like to do it from being, I hesitate to use this word, but you'll know what I mean at least, from being, well, I'll just say from coming from a binge eating perspective, like starting here and going to peace with food, right? And having that food be eat to live. Maybe not all of it, but most of it being eat to live food, right? Yeah, Cheryl, it was all good news. Everything's good. Thank you. Yeah, oh my gosh, so many things are happening. I forgot to mention. So I broke a crown yesterday, and I have the temporary one. I got it put on yesterday. You will see the video that we published. I don't know if it went live yet or today or not, but the whole, when my mouth is all numb and what I ended up doing as a result of that, you'll see that in the vlog. By the way, I'm vlogging my challenge experience right now. So if y'all are doing the challenge, you'll find that interesting to watch me do the challenge as well, especially with these dental issues that I've had yesterday and today. My mouth is so much better, but I was in so much pain this morning. Now it's getting a lot better, but I'm just kind of like on only the liquid forms of the foods for today. And tomorrow I hope to resume salad eating and stuff as well, but I have to be careful with this temporary crown. And then I get the regular crown in 2 weeks. So you'll see, you'll see what I did. And then, yes, you did miss something right at the beginning of the, I had to do that. I had to get it fixed yesterday. I have to go back to get it adjusted a little bit today. But at the beginning of the call you missed, I was on a call with my actual oncologist from Las Vegas, and we were discussing my future treatment and second opinions and things like that. So it's an interesting, it's okay, Sandy. It was an interesting call. I've never done a live like this before, and you'll see I was actually crying and had some emotion there and stuff. So, and I agree, Eileen, dental work totally sucks. It was not fun. Okay, so moving on. If y'all are doing the free 6-day Eat to Live challenge with us, I forgot to mention this because of all the other things going on in the beginning. We are doing a free live 6-day Eat to Live challenge, free recipes, all new recipes that haven't been published before, meal plans and grocery lists. I recommend that you download it. Just go here, thewateringmouth.com/challenge. Download it anyway, even if you're not doing it with us live. And by the way, it's not too late to do it with us live because there's still 3.5 days left. So you have plenty of time to get groceries and do at least 1, 2, or 3 of the last set of days with us. And it's so nice to have that camaraderie, right? But if you haven't downloaded it, download it anyway because you can still get the recipes. You can use them later, okay? So feel free to sign up for that. Today we are on day 3 of my workshop. Right now we're talking about all or nothing thinking. And okay, so let's keep talking a little bit. So if somebody like me can go from binge eating all the time to very peaceful about my food, right? And it just keeps getting better and better instead of this yo-yo, like, oh, I'm doing so great. Oh, I'm doing terrible. Oh, I'm doing so great. I'm on track. I'm off track. I'm on track. I'm off track, right? If I can go from admittedly not very good eating to great eating nowadays, so can you. But the one thing that I want to point out, and we're going to talk about this today, this is what we're talking about, all or nothing thinking. The one thing I want to point out is that even the idea of superiority itself creates pressure in the brain, creates pressure in our heart that we got to get everything right. And if we don't get it right, we're not nutritarian, or we're not going to be healthy enough. We're not going to get what we need, right? So it kind of sets it up in this way that like, now I love Dr. Fuhrman. I love the Eat to Live diet more than anything else. It's my favorite. I recommend it for everybody. But the emphasis on superiority and perfection, and it sort of attracts us all or nothing kind of people, doesn't it? Right? And it's all okay. I understand where Dr. Fuhrman is coming from, that like people want to know, well, what's the best I could do though, right? But the part that I feel like is missing in our brains is what happens if we can't do it perfectly? What's still useful? So that's what we're going to talk about today, okay? This all or nothing thing. Is this resonating with you guys at all? Do you feel like this makes a little bit of sense? Because we're going to get a lot more detailed in here, but does this feel like something you struggle with as well? This all or nothing kind of perfectionist stuff? Okay. So this is all or nothing. It's either you're 100% doing really good, got all my G-bombs today, tomorrow, the next day, blah, 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 right? Or like had my salad, had my smoothie, did everything perfectly. Just like with the challenge too. Are we doing the challenge perfectly? Like, did I have an extra apple, or did I have an extra this, or did I end up going off track and then eating this other thing, right? Allison, we got an absolutely here. Linda says you hit the nail on the head. That's me for sure, for sure. I know a little something about us. Right? So here are the thoughts here of all, like when we're on a 6-day challenge, it's like, I have to get everything right. I can't have anything extra. I have to follow it exactly the way it's written. Just Cheri knows best. So Coach Nancy knows best. So this must be perfect. I got to follow this exactly the way it's written. Right. But first of all, I just want to say overall, when you're doing a 6-day challenge, understand that as a challenge creator, we have to create a challenge for somebody who's at a fairly low weight already so that they can still like maybe 120, 130, 140, whatever, like someone like that who could still lose weight. But if we're at a higher weight at this time, it's not going to be enough food for us. And I'll even say, like, I'm following the challenge myself, and it wasn't enough food for me the first 2 days. So, what I did was with the smoothie recipe, I added a banana, a small banana, whatever. I added a few more walnuts with wait, what's the word I'm trying to say? With the dressing, I added some more nutritional yeast. When I make this soup, my preference is to have some more lemon flavor. And then I also put in a little bit of fat. So I put in some, what was it? Yesterday I used cashew butter. And then I also put in some more nooch. These are like, this is always my favorite way to eat a soup. The first day I didn't do any of this, and I just watched my hunger. I was starved in the morning, and then after the first smoothie, I was still hungry like 2 hours later, and I still had an hour or two to go for lunch. And so I was like, oh, that's not enough food. Then I had the salad. And then I had the salad. That also didn't feel like enough food for me. And when I had the soup, I was really craving and had quite a bit of hunger at night. Now, I have done so much with trying to understand my own hunger and getting used to my own hunger, which is a huge part of my program, is teaching how to use your own hunger to understand what's going on with you. I happen to know that for my body, that level of hunger is too much. Meaning, if I keep on that level of hunger, I will crash and burn because I'm just too hungry. And then one day I'll end up falling off and just eating way too much. But what I've done in the last few years now is I've been really practicing finding out where my actual caloric needs are, not from writing it down and finding out what I need to know, whatever, from just listening to what my body is telling me, which is the skill that I want you to have. This is the skill I want you to learn, because when you learn this skill, that's complete freedom and peace, because you never have to count anything again. Like we talked about on Monday, all these gimmicky things, the apps, the buddy systems, the accountability, all that crap that's outside of you, external stuff. You don't need that stuff anymore. You have everything you need inside of you. One of those things is your hunger system. That's what I'm talking about right now. Another thing is your ability to regulate your emotions. If you can regulate your emotions at the same time you're doing this, it's twice as powerful. And then the other thing is if you can learn how to plan ahead, that's 3 times as powerful. And that's part of my program as well, learning how to plan ahead in a way that's not overwhelming, in a way that that doesn't require you to change your whole life around in order to make this work, right? And then similarly with the emotion one, if we can learn to manage our emotions, we don't have to try to keep using willpower all the time, because we know willpower doesn't work, right? So if we can learn these 3 things, these are the 3 things that are in my program, 3 simple things, that's it. And I don't overwhelm you with content or anything like that. We just learn these 3 things and practice, 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 practice. We get to the point of peace with our food. But I'm showing you this because this is what I did. Okay. So if I could, I wish this was sort of digital so I could like move this to the middle here. Because what I did with this challenge was the middle ground, right? But what you might be used to is thinking I have to do everything perfect, right? I got to do this challenge. This is the perfect side, right? So I can't have a banana, can't have anything extra, can't listen to my hunger. Cheri and Nancy must have thought of this already and known exactly what I need. And so I can't change this if I'm feeling too hungry or whatever, or I'm afraid I won't lose weight if I add something in because I'm so starved, or I don't know the difference between toxic hunger and true hunger or whatever. So if we don't get it perfect, instead of thinking thoughts like this, like, let me take care of myself first, we do this one. We're like, you know what? Eat to live doesn't work for me. I get too hungry on that diet, right? I don't like how it tastes, right? Or it takes too much time. It's too expensive. What we'll end up doing is starting to think these things, and we'll make this true in our head instead of trying to figure out why it might not be true. And then we completely go off and we miss all the amazing benefits of the Eat to Live diet. It's all or nothing. If I don't do it perfect, I'm going to start to believe this stuff. Well, you know what? It took too much time anyway. It's fine. It was too time consuming. It was too expensive. I was just hungry all the time. Instead of thinking to yourself, like, no, I actually like the Nutritarian diet. I just need to figure out how to work it for myself, for my own personal self. And so you don't even experiment with this stuff because you think you have to do it perfectly in order for it to work. Or you think that, for instance, say you got all the meals right, but then you were too hungry and you ended up binging on French fries later or something, or bread or cereal or whatever. And then you thought that because you had a binge at the end of the night that you failed. So then you were like, forget it. It's never going to work for me. I can't do this, whatever. Is this resonating with you at all? Okay, this is interesting. Some people are exceptional at doing something perfectly. Dr. Furman, Goldhammer, Chef AJ. The average bear is not. Okay, this is an interesting thought here. I believe that the only thing that's different between, I'm going to say, I don't know Dr. Goldhammer and I don't know Chef AJ, but I know Dr. Furman a lot. I would say that the only difference between us who are on our journey and him is that there's a lot of things. Like, he was raised eating this way. Like, he certainly had junk in his life. He certainly had overeating and things like this, but he was raised by someone who believed these things. I was not. That's okay. It's not my parents' fault. It's just this is the path I came from. So I was a little bit behind Dr. Furman when I got started on the healthy eating stuff, right? I didn't even really seriously consider healthy eating until I always was interested, but I didn't really do it until I found Eat to Live, which I was 31. So that's 3 decades. And many of us don't find Eat to Live until we're 50, 60, 70 years old, right? So that's many, many decades of eating standard American diet. Whereas Dr. Furman, I bet you, has not had many standard American diet meals or even years, I would say, maybe no years of standard American diet in his life. He at least was raised with a lot more vegetables and things than the average bear, as we're saying, right? So it's just that he kind of has a head start. It doesn't mean that he has a different capability than we do. That's the point I want to make right here. He doesn't have a different capability. He just had a head start. That's it. And what I'm trying to convey is that we all have the ability to get real close to this and to get real interested and capable and proficient in Eat to Live. We all have this ability. It's just about the mental side of it. How do we take it when we don't do perfectly? Are we a work in progress, or are we all or nothing? Right? Okay. This is okay. This is a good one here. So I can barely make it one day perfectly. Gotcha. Okay. What I like to say then is that your protocol and what you're trying to do is not realistic for you at this time in your life. I want us all to see it like a spectrum. Like, when we start out, we go, where am I starting? And I always have clients do this. Okay, this is probably giving away too much, but I'm just going to do it with you guys because I love yes. Here's what I do with a client. I'll say, all right, how are you eating now? They will inevitably start telling me how they want to be eating, right? So they'll go, well, I want to have this, I want to have that, whatever. Well, this is what I mean to have it. I'm like, no, that's not what I mean. What are you actually eating right now? Tell me all the Reese's peanut butter cups. Tell me all the fast food. Tell me all the things. Not because I want to judge you or make you feel bad, but I just want to get it down neutrally. I just want to write it and see what your current protocol is. Because a lot of us, we try to pretend like we're not eating that way. It's like, no, that's not how I'm eating, right? As if it would disappear if we closed our eyes to it. But it actually is happening. So let's own up to it. Let's just say, here's how I'm eating. This is what I'm doing. And here's where I'm going to go. So what I do with a client is I'll say, all right, so how are you eating now? I'll say, like, give me the last week, like the average of the last week of eating. How did you eat? So then it starts to get real, and they'll go, okay, well, I was in a really big, they'll start to give excuses. Like, I was in a really big hurry. So I went to Starbucks and had a muffin sandwich, right? And I had a latte or whatever. I just didn't have any time, whatever. So they're already they're already mad at themselves for what they ate. And then they're like, oh, well, my day was really busy and this happened and this happened. So then I was going to have a salad, but then at the break room, they had these, hoagies or whatever. So I had a hoagie, whatever. But I did have some salad, right? Like I had a little bit of my salad, and then they'll go, and then after work, I was just so tired. I couldn't possibly. And then they're like, I ended up having a bunch of potatoes, some roast beef, because my husband made it and I couldn't resist it, whatever. And then he had chocolate cake and I couldn't not have that. And then we had some popcorn afterwards, right? Like, I wish I didn't eat like this, but that's what it was. And I'm like, okay, cool. Great. Let's start there. What I would like to tell you is that anybody can get to eat to live from here. And even if it's like even more standard American than this, let's say we were like, eraser here. Let's say we were like, and then I just couldn't after here. So I ended up at McDonald's and I had a burger and fries. And then I had a binge. So I went to Wendy's and I had a Frosty, and then I had this and I had that. And I got home and I still was cravey. And so I had this and that and whatever, right? So this might be where we're starting. And this is okay. There's nobody on this planet that can't get to eat to live from here if they use the stuff that I teach you to do. Okay. So let's say we're starting here. What I do is I say, okay, client, let's look at all this. Let's see what are your patterns? What do you typically go to when you're tired or stressed or angry or bored or happy? What typically happens, right? Like, oh, I go to a restaurant with my friends or this or that. So then we start actually coaching on the things that come up and why they are a problem. The stress, where is it coming from? We'll start coaching on, we don't coach on food for a while. We'll stop. Actually, it almost always happens this way, where in the beginning, we're hard in on the food. The first 1 or 2 sessions, it's all about the food. And then every single time with a client, it starts going to, well, this happened with so-and-so, and my husband said this, and I'm in the middle of a divorce, and then X did this, right? Or my kid said this, or my boss did this, or I'm having such troubles with my daughter, whatever it is. They always bring that. And I'm like, let's go there. So then we start going to all those things and trying to clear those up, not fixing the people, but fixing the way that we respond to it emotionally. Because when we can, what I'm always trying to get people to, I was just coaching someone on this today. We were looking at joy, and we realized that joy is actually not what we wanted 100% of the time. What we really want is peace. We want to be neutral. We don't always need to be up, but peaceful is where we want to be. Because if we're peaceful, we're automatically going to make better choices. But then you say, well, how can I be peaceful about all this stuff that's happening in my life? It's by doing the stuff that we do in my program, the very simple 3 steps. We just keep working on it, and we learn to coach ourselves on the emotional stuff so that food doesn't come in when we're feeling emotional. Okay. So Allison, here's what we do to make it one day perfectly, easily. Your one day perfect easily might not be for another year, and that's okay. But what I want to show you is that I don't know how you eat. So this is just, I just made this all up, but we're already eating this way. So let's not pretend we aren't. Let's get open and honest about it and write it down. And then what we do in my program is something called small shifts. What that means is we might take one of these and just start working on it. Say Starbucks is a very ingrained habit for us. It always was for me. I mean, you're not too far off, she says. Oh, I love you so much. Starbucks is, for me, that's always my habit. That's my ingrained pattern that I go to the fastest. So let's say that this is our pattern, a muffin sandwich with sausage, egg, cheese, whatever, and then we have a sugary latte, right? What we want to start doing is small shifting away from that. I don't mean let's have a smoothie at home. That's not what I mean. That's not a small shift. That's a gigantic shift. A small shift would be starting to get coached on the muffin itself, right? This is silly, but this is how you do it. You start to think about, what do I actually believe about that muffin or about this meal, that sandwich, that breakfast sandwich? What do I actually believe about it? So I would actually be coaching you specifically on what you're thinking about that sandwich that feels important to you, or what you're thinking about Starbucks that feels important to you, or what you're thinking about binging that feels important to you. Why do you believe in binging right now? Why do you believe in a little bit of salad and then just have what they have in the break room, whatever? Oftentimes, like, let's look at this one. Everyone's just having Subway, and you don't want to be, you don't want people to judge you. You brought this whole big salad, but they always like make comments about you. And so then you're just like, I want to be with them, but I don't want them to make comments about my salad. So I'm just going to have the hoagie because it's easier, right? What we would be coaching on is not the sub. We'd be coaching on your thoughts around, why do you care what people think about you? Why is it okay to have a salad when people are having a sub? What if people are judging, right? We'd be going way into all this deep stuff. We're not coaching on the sub itself. We're coaching on what you think about why you abandon your plan about salad, right? Or like, say you have intentions to have a salad, but you never make the time to prep it. We're going to go into that. Why do you not take the time to prep your salads? Why do you, like, what are you doing that you're finding more valuable than prepping your salad? Like, there's so much in here. And we're going to be working on each of those things, small shifting our way through it, so that at one point, I'll give you my story. When I was just had the twins, I was having, like, Starbucks was my only respite, right? Like, it was the only time I could get out of the house for like 15 minutes, go get something to eat. So I felt like, oh, like, this is my treat, right? And because my binging had come back, I was having 3 croissants at a time, plus my coffee, my grande super sweet coffee, because I had this thought in my head that was like, I can't choose between the flavors. I need to have all the flavors. There was an almond one, a chocolate one, and a regular one. And I was like, I love all 3 of those. I have to have all 3. So every time I would go out, I'd be like, I deserve this. I need a break. I got to have all 3 flavors because I don't know when I'm able to get here again. I need to have the sugar. I had all these stories about what was happening. And what I had to do was small shift my way out of those stories about the croissants. So I started with the croissants. I started to think about it like, do I really want these croissants? I really don't. So how can I stop? And then I was like, all right, let me think about the flavor thing. Like, do I have to have this flavor all the time? I started working on myself, like, just thinking about this flavor thing. Do I have, like, are these croissants going to go away? No, they'll be here next time. And what is the fire? Like, where's the fire if I don't have that flavor all at once today? Is that really self-care? Is it really a reward for doing so much awesome stuff with the babies all day long? And what I realized also, one thing that really hit me was I was sitting in the line at Starbucks, in the drive-through line, because it was COVID. We couldn't really get out of our cars at the time or whatever. I was sitting in the line, and there was just so many people at Starbucks because drive-through lines were the only thing that really felt safe to get food outside of your house at the time. So it's like a 30-minute line to get Starbucks. And I was like, I had this moment where I was like, wait a minute, you're telling me that the 15 or 30 minutes that I have out of one whole week to go and do something for myself, I'm going to spend it giving money and eating crappy food and sitting in a drive-through line? That's how I'm going to spend my time? I was like, no, I'm not. I'm not spending my time that way. And it took me being honest with myself and being aware and going like, oh, I'm like, what I'm choosing to spend my life on is not something that I want. I had to think about it. I had to come to that. So then over the next few months, I started to small shift. I was like, okay, I'm going to have 2 croissants next time. And I did. And then I had 2 croissants for a while. And then I started questioning that. And then I went to 1 croissant. And so about 6 months later, I started to have, instead of the latte and the sandwich, or it wasn't the sandwich at the time, it was 3 croissants, but instead of the croissants and the latte, I was having a tea, which is my old drink that I used to have before. It was a tea with a splash of coconut milk. And I was so proud of myself. I was like, this is awesome. I feel so good about myself. And then I was like, wait a minute, why am I spending $5 on tea that I can make at home, right? So it was the awareness of this pattern that caused me to finally small shift and get out of that. This maybe sounds like a long process, but it's actually not, because the way we think about Starbucks is the same way we're thinking about all the other stuff. And so it's going to trickle down. And the work that we're doing here isn't jarring because it's like, oh, let's be 100% Nutritarian all of a sudden. It's totally doable. So we call this stuff doable and realistic. Okay? So as we're doing these small shifts, as it's feeling realistic to us, it doesn't feel too hard. It's not this one, by the way. It's not all, because we don't believe that we can do all. And that's why we always fall off track, is because we actually don't believe we can do it. I promise you, there's a day where you will believe that you can do it, just like Dr. Furman does. It's not today, though, and that's okay. But we don't want to go to this one because we're feeling bad about not being in this one. You get me? Okay. Lots of good comments here. I've been giving away a lot. I'm excited to know that I can truly get to where I want to be with my diet, food, and lifestyle. It's so true. It's so true. I'm glad. Although nothing thinking has tripped me up in the past, had blood work done recently and it was very good. You don't have to eat or live perfectly all the time to get important benefits. Chantal, thank you. Thank you for saying that. That was a point that I skipped over that I did want to make. This is maybe not the best diet ever, but if we went from this to maybe in 3 months, we have a smoothie every day because we really want to and we love it and we've talked ourselves out of Starbucks, just that increase alone is going to be good for our health. And then this one, and then this one, right? Anything that we do is worth it. And we do not have to be perfect to get amazing health results. That was one thought that I really was working on a lot over these last few years. It's like, wait a minute, do I actually have to be perfect to feel better? Because it was like I was getting bloated from gluten. I was just feeling sluggish, and like I would get headaches from eating chocolate and stuff like that. And I was like, I just feel like crap. I wonder if I just started thinking about whole foods again. What if it was just whole foods that I was thinking about? And so I wasn't thinking Nutritarian, G-bombs, all the things. Salad's got to be this big, smooth, have to have this many greens in the day, pound of fresh, pound of raw, whatever, cooked, whatever. I wasn't thinking along those lines. I was like, let me pull back from the needing to be perfect because I can't pull that off right now. I can't even pull off a salad a day. So let me just start thinking about whole foods. Then it was like, let me start thinking about whole foods, plant-based. And it was working my way up, right? And I noticed that so many, like the weight was coming off, so many things were happening. I was feeling better. I wasn't bloated. My digestion was amazing. I was like, also, I was less stressed. Let me mention this idea about the stress level. Okay. If our stress is up because we're trying to be perfect, if our stress level goes up because we're trying to be perfect, we are actually negating some of the benefits of Eat to Live. If our stress level is down because we're doing it in a way that feels good for us, we're going to be adding to benefits. Even if we hadn't eaten Eat to Live, we're still going to be getting benefits from having lower cortisol levels, less stress hormones running through our body. And when we're feeling less stress about stuff, and we can do that with our food, we can do that with everything else in our life. We can apply that to other things in our life. Okay? Cheryl, when I started, I made a bunch of recipes and thought, this takes too much time in the kitchen. Simple is the key to success, right? So either there's do all the meal plans, do all the prep, spend 6 hours a day on a Sunday, spend your whole weekend making prep and doing things, whatever. Or so you could either think like, oh, this takes too much time, or you could ask yourself a very simple question. I wonder if there's a way that I can make this take less time. I wonder if it's true that this is time consuming, because I tell you, it's not. Once you've gotten good at it and you really care about it and you want to keep trying, you'll find ways. You will find so many ways to, sorry, just got to make sure my phone's off. You'll find so many ways to make what we call fast food: an apple, a banana, some nuts. Like, we can always have healthy, whole, plant-based foods, even if they're not perfectly nutritarian. And I was like, where is the logic behind going to eat a sandwich that has like a bunch of processed stuff on it versus having an apple or nuts? Just because someone told me that we shouldn't snack on fruits and nuts, now I'm going to have a sandwich instead. I was like, that's illogical. I'm going to eat an apple. If that's the thing that I want, if that's the thing that's going to be quick and get me going, that's what I'm having. I'm not going to I'm not going to go off track just because I can't be perfect. Okay. Elara says, all too often, if I make a single misstep, I throw in the towel and totally give up. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, where is it? Oh, right. So you were saying, okay, you've been giving away a lot. I'm so excited to know that I can truly get to where I want to be with my diet, food, and lifestyle in peace. You're so welcome. You're so welcome. Do you tend to do what you intend to do, right? If you intend to not care, you're going to be doing things that look like not caring, right? Yep. Muffin wakes me up and it goes with coffee. It's convenient, right? So you have a belief system about a muffin and coffee that is what you keep repeating on purpose because of your belief system around it, right? And we have belief systems about all the different meals that we eat. Oh, I had to because, so and so, my kids had practice and we were going here and here and here. We didn't have any time to stop and whatever. I was coaching a client on this same thing recently and she had all these practices and whatever. And I asked a couple questions like, well, I'm just curious, why did you, and you were starved, right? So you ended up going to Chick-fil-A and you had she had a decent meal that she was glad she had it, but then she had some fries as well. And she was kind of stuffing the fries. And I was like, okay, so you did make a semi-decent choice by your estimation, but why is it that you got to that level of super, super hungry? Why did you not bring something with you to blunt that hunger a little bit? And she was like, oh yeah. Right. And then it was like, if you're not starved when you get to Chick-fil-A, maybe you'll only have 4 of the fries, right? Or 6 instead of the whole little box or whatever. Right? Can we incrementally improve and also throw out the guilt on what we're doing, throw out the condemnation, the self-condemnation and all that stuff, right? That's right. Self-indulgence is not self-care anyway. I'm so glad you love it. The small shifts, simple, but so deep. That's right. I don't know which thing you're referring to, folks, but I'm so glad that this is working. Oh, I love this, Susan. I've had grapes and peanut butter on this challenge and still consider self on track. I'm so proud of you. That's a huge step. And this whole on track thing, anyways, can we talk about that for a sec? Because there is no track, by the way. There's no actual track that anyone is on. We're just humans eating food because we will die without it. That's it. There's no track. There is no track. And you say to me, well, I want to be nutritarian. So that's the track. So when I say I'm on track, I mean, I'm actually eating nutritarian. I'm saying on track, I'm actually eating nutritarian. Off track, I'm not caring at all, right? But isn't there a middle ground? And by the way, yes. And by the way, this is where I want you to be all the time. What I want you to do is getting back to self-care and self-love. And what I think is most important here, as I was kind of mentioning before, is understanding yourself. That's not really the right words I want. How can I say that differently? Understanding yourself, doing what you need for you specifically, like customizing for self or something, right? Not going, here's the written plan. It has to be this way for me to get results. It's here's the written plan. How do I make it work for me? I'm going to get results anyway. Because this is what I want to show you now. This is the last thing I'm going to show you about this particular all or nothing thing. Okay. So now going back to these kind of dots things, what I like to tell people is that you can lose weight. If this is a weight loss thing for you, you can lose weight as long as you have, it's like math, as long as you have majority of days where you're kind of losing a little bit of weight. So let's say this is your week, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 days, right? And let's say in the beginning you do really, really well, and then not so good. And then you're like, oh, I'm terrible. Wait, I got to do this again, right? Now, I want you to look at this. You need to get to know what this means for your body specifically. But for me, I know the way this looks is this. If I follow a certain type of meal plan, even the challenge with a little bit of extra food, I'm going to lose weight that day. I might lose half a pound in a day like that if I'm doing a challenge. So let's say I do that twice in a row, lose weight. And then this one, I don't do so well, but I don't gain weight, right? So I'm just maintaining. And then these ones say I gain a bit. And then this one I lose again. Now, if you add all these up, mathematically, these cancel each other out. So you actually had a weight loss week. When we look at it on a day-to-day basis, that's when we start beating ourselves up. But what matters is that longer term. Like, how are we doing longer term? Are we the majority of the time? You know? Because these are like, you can just get rid of these ones, right? Because the weight maintenance days don't matter as far as weight goes. But if we're saying we had 2 weight gain days and 3 weight loss days, we're good. We're going to lose weight. Now, here's what's important though. If our weight gain days are full of a ton of beating ourselves up, we're going to eat way more than we lost on these days. So it's not going to add up to weight loss. It's going to add up to weight gain. But if we don't do this whole wah, I suck, I'm the worst thing ever, we're just going to overeat by a little bit, and then it won't affect anything. Then we'll still lose weight that week. Does that make sense? It's just math. But what's important is that we don't do the full on, oh my gosh, I'm terrible. I'll never get this. There's something wrong with me. I'm a binge eater and I can't stop. If we feel empowered, which go back to yesterday's video and the day before when we talk about how important our feelings are. If we're coming from a place of empowered, not a big, huge smile, but just like, I got this, right? Like, yeah, I got this. If we come from a place of empowered, this is not going to be that big of a deal. We might overeat a bit, but we're not feeling out of control. We're not going to go to binging because we're feeling so poor about ourselves. I'm out of control. I can't stop this, whatever. If we're like, yeah, I'm just going to have a little extra today, whatever. I know I'm not going to lose weight, but that's okay. So we just overeat a little bit. It's not going to be that big of a deal. So what I say to folks is, can we just get rid of these days altogether? What I mean by this is, can we just get rid of the self-flagellation? Can we just get rid of the self-hatred, guilt, shame? If we just get rid of that stuff, it's going to be a pretty great journey overall. It's not going to be perfect. Some days maybe we'll overeat a little bit. Some days we'll undereat. Some days will be weight maintenance days, but overall that feels great. Lowered stress is going to improve everything. And we'll be able to lose weight like that. But the key is getting rid of the self-hatred, thinking that there's something wrong with us, all that kind of stuff. And that's what we do in my programs, okay? Is it Faye? Yes, I've been going along well without cravings. Today I decided to go work out without having lunch after I was so hungry that I got an okay lunch, but then made a stop and got a cupcake and brownie. That's what I like to call not thinking of future you, right? So I decided to go work out without having lunch. Okay. You did decide to do that though, right? Notice you decided to do that. You could have just as easily decided to have lunch before and avoided that. What's beautiful about this is now you have some data on what you typically do. So you'll notice now next time, and let's be aware of it, right? And not just push it aside and say, oh, I suck. That was terrible. I'll never get this right. Instead we go, what happened there? What could I do differently next time? The question to ask yourself, Faye, is why did you choose to have the workout without lunch? Why did you choose to let yourself get to that really, really hungry state, which leads to cravings, right? Why did you let yourself get there? That's a great question to answer. And do I want to do that anymore? Do I want to get to that place of massive amounts of hunger? Because it always ends up leading to overeating and things like this. Can I keep myself in sort of a range of hunger that's comfortable so that I don't end up overeating, right? Great questions. Diana says, I'm going on a short vacation to DC. I'll be eating at restaurants for most meals and will experiment with going to bed a little bit hungry. I've never tried before. That is it, Diana.
just a little bit of hunger, right? You must have heard me talk about this before. Having just a little bit of hunger is going to create weight loss for us. The problem is a lot of the time comes up when people are like dieting and trying to lose weight, they'll have so much hunger that just like what Faye was saying is, yeah, right, exactly, because you wanted the calorie deficit, right? So we think that massive amounts of hunger is important to lose weight when really it's not. Any amount of hunger is good enough to lose weight. And so I always say that the most comfortable way of doing that is to eat how you need to eat during the day. Don't worry about it. Just eat enough to be satiated or full. And then by the end of the day, have a small enough meal and early enough that you go to bed finally 2, 3, 4, 5 hours later, you go to bed just a tiny bit hungry, not starved at all. Because if you go to bed starved, you won't be able to sleep. Some people will get up and eat in the middle of the night, all that kind of stuff. Just a little bit of hunger means, and this is what I'm talking about, like just a little bit of hunger. This isn't like a perfect day and I starved myself. That's not what we mean. That's going to lead to binging at some point. That's going to lead to feelings of deprivation and all that. If we get used to feeding ourselves when we're hungry, our brain and body will start to trust us. And then we can do just a little bit of hunger at the end. Our body will actually start to create weight loss. And what we're doing there is teaching ourselves that we can trust ourselves, that we're not going to make us starve, right? Because starvation is no good. That's not what we want. We want to have enough calories to do our days and feel good and all that. We're not talking about starvation here to lose weight. We're talking about just a little bit of hunger. There's a difference between hunger and starvation. Do you know that, right? Like there's a difference. Okay. I'm feeling more empowered with every workshop. This is mind-blowing. I'm so excited. You say, I can't imagine what your program is like. It's just like this, right? It's like this, but way more in depth. And so let's talk about that a little bit. When we talk about program, so that's basically my like all or nothing thing. The last thing I wanted to talk about today is, am I nutritarian enough? I think that you kind of understand what I might say about this in the end is like, yes, you are. Wherever you are enough. You are where you are supposed to be. You are nowhere else. You are where you are exactly supposed to be. Yes, you are nutritarian enough, and you are certainly nutritarian enough to sit at our table. No matter what I'm doing, I don't care what you're eating or what you're trying to eat or whatever, you are always welcome with us, no matter where you are on your journey. Now, yeah, my hidden agenda, it's not even hidden, obviously, is to get you to eat more vegetables, right? Any of you watching this, to get you to eat more vegetables. By the way, if you're watching, hit replay. If you're watching the replay, type replay. Of course, you guys are on with me live right now, but if you are watching the replay, let me know by typing replay there. But are you nutritarian enough? Yes. It doesn't matter what program you want to join with us, whether it's private coaching, whether it's joining the Eat to Live family. And by the way, those are the only 2 programs we have. So let me give you kind of the rundown here. Eat to Live family. By the way, right now you're doing the free 6-day challenge. This ends on Saturday. Then we have Sunday. And then Monday is the day. You can't see that. Monday is the day where the Eat to Live family opens up. This coming Monday, our registration opens, okay? So the only 2 programs that I offer are, number 1, the Eat to Live family, and number 2, private coaching. So basically the programs I offer are coaching, and coaching, that's it. Because coaching is, I truly believe and have experience that coaching is what does it. And I just want you to think about speed of transmission. So the only difference, you get the same sort of stuff that we're talking about on these workshops and everything. It's the speed of transmission. So like what you're doing right now by just like watching YouTube and trying to watch my videos and things like that, that's the slow way. It'll take you a few years to get where I'm talking about, okay? If you join the family, that's like, I would call that like the 6 to 12 month plan. And it's more like DIY. You get coaching in there, but all of the activity that you're going to do is going to be self-directed. You have to kind of hold your feet to the fire to do that stuff, okay? The private coaching is like the fast one. This one you're getting a transformation in 6 to 12 weeks. All of our programs are 12 weeks though. So you'll be in with us for 12 weeks, but you will start to get transformation within 6 weeks, 4, 6, 8 weeks, depends on the person. You'll start to get results within a week because we do meal planning. We help customize a meal plan for you specifically right in the beginning. So in that first week, you're going to probably start losing weight. Most people do start losing weight immediately, but you'll get the transformation of mindset 4, 6, 8 weeks. And then by 12 weeks, it's going to be solid. You're going to know exactly what you need to do and how to do it and how to navigate life while you're doing it as well. Okay. So that's kind of how private coaching works. If you are interested in private coaching, I'm just going to put this up for a second in case you are. You got to watch this video first. Okay. And that will teach you how to contact us about private coaching. But you've got to watch this video first. info.thewateringmouth.com/free-training. You've got to watch that first to be able to talk to us about private coaching. But let's say you want to talk about the family. Okay. So that's separate. These are the only 2 things I offer because I truly believe, in my professional opinion, from having worked with hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, coaching is what does it. We need a coach. Why? Because we need someone to tell us how to get there faster, right? We don't want to just be like shuffling around YouTube videos trying to put it all together. We want someone to just be like, here's how we get peaceful now. So I only offer 2 things. This one is private, one-on-one with a coach. You get a coach, that's it. You and that coach go through the program and they customize it for you. Or you join the Eat to Live family. This is the group coaching program, large group coaching program. So there's a lot of people in there right now, all doing the same thing that you're interested in, which is ending emotional eating. The whole point of joining, ending emotional eating, camaraderie, weight loss, in case that's something you're interested in. Some people aren't, that's okay. Healthy eating consistency. That's just a few things, right? But like then if you're doing Eat to Live, you're also getting benefits of like disease prevention, reversal, and longevity, right? So there's so many amazing benefits you get from following the coaching that I do. This is the one that I feel like we all need to start with, learning how to end emotional eating. And I guarantee I can teach you how to do that. Anyone watching this, I can teach you how to do that with my programs. And you can get that in the Eat to Live family. Now, what's so exciting about the family, we're opening up on Monday again. We only open once a quarter. So you'll only have this opportunity right now until July again. This is a large group. So when I say camaraderie, there's hundreds of people in there and they're the best people on the planet. I have to say, many of you are on this call right now. That's right, Rochelle. Rochelle's in the family and she gets coached all the time. She really takes advantage, which is so important. The coach can be the outside observer that helps you see things you're not seeing yourself. I always say it's like, think of it like a doctor working on you, right? It's easy for the doctor to work on you. It's hard for the doctor to work on themselves, right? So us as individuals, it's hard for us to work on ourselves. It's harder to make those transitions. But what I teach you in the family is how to do it yourself so that you can go off and do this yourself, right? And I want it to be repeatable so that you can just keep doing it and if you feel confident doing it. So that's what we do in the family. That is the Eat to Live family. It's an affordable monthly group coaching membership. So you get in there, you pay a super affordable amount. You can cancel anytime. So you can just stay in for a month and binge watch all the content if you want, no problem. In there, I give you, like I say, the transformation takes about 6 to 12 months. In there, the most important thing is 2 coaching calls with me each month. And what I mean by that is it's a big group call. So everyone in the family is allowed to go on that or watch the calls later. They're recorded. You can come on the call with me just like this, where you'll be on the screen, I'll be on the screen, and I'll just coach you personally one-on-one through whatever you're struggling with. I guarantee these types of changes. This is what we're doing here. And if you really show up and you keep doing this work, you will get there. I don't know how long it will take you. It depends on how much work you put in and all that. But you'll have 2 coaching calls with me a month. This is really what you're paying for in there. is to be able to get on there with me or to watch any previous coaching call we've ever done. And they're all in there. We've been open for over 2 years, all the coaching calls. So there's at least 20, 30, probably 30, 60 recordings of coaching calls, I'd say, as well as workshops that we've recorded on various things, cooking and recipes and all that kind of stuff. It's housed in its own private social media network. So it's like Facebook, but it's not on Facebook. It's something called Mighty Network. So it's private, totally secure. Everyone is in there, and we keep each other's information super private. And there's so much more in there. We do 21-day challenges each quarter. Like you're doing right now, a 6-day challenge. We do 21-day challenges in there every quarter all together. We have workshops. We have all the previous recordings. We have my weight loss vlog, which is me talking about how I have been losing weight in the last few years, my journey, my struggles, recipes, lots, just so many different resources in order for you to do this stuff. And then on top of that, you have access to my Quick Start program, and you have access to my Eat to Live Academy. I gotta go. Those are my digital coaching courses, the Quick Start program and the Academy. The Quick Start is that 3-step program I was telling you about. It's just my simple 3-step program. I told you about it today already, but there's so much more detail in there to get you to stick to it and understand how to use it. That's right. You can rewatch any of the coaching calls and workshops. They're all in there. Even these workshops that I'm doing today, they're all in there from the past as well, when I've delivered these same workshops in previous challenges. And for the public, we always take those down. So you won't be able to access these workshops, specifically these ones. At the end of next week, we're taking them down, but they're all in the family. So you can always watch them there. But you get access to that Quick Start program in the Academy. These are digital coaching courses. You can do them. It's DIY. You go at your own pace. You can binge watch the whole thing if you want. And so many people in the family have done these programs 5, 6, 7 times because they just keep getting value from it every time they watch. They're that powerful. You get access to all that in there. And then the benefits, I can't state how important this is to put down emotional eating for the rest of your life, to be done with that, to put down the struggles with food, finally getting to feel peaceful about your food. It's worth everything, okay? So consider that. It's amazing. Telling you, it's the best thing you'll ever do. I've had people say that to me. Well, maybe behind their family, right? But this family is second best to a real family, perhaps. But it is amazing. So we are opening up on Monday, April 10th. And you can go, if you want to sign up for the wait list, you can sign up for the wait list right now. If there's anyone still on the call who is in the family, type me a few words about what you feel about being in the family and how has it changed your life. If you don't mind, if you have a second to just type something real quick. If you do want to join, you can go here. There's a wait list. And this page is going to give you all the information you need to know. thewateringmouth.com/family. thewateringmouth.com/family. Just go there. All the information you need is on there of all the stuff that you get and everything. Even the investment is on there, which is barely anything. It's like a gym membership. Totally worth it. We are opening up again on Monday, April 10th. If you go here and you put your email on the top, we will email you when we're open, and then you can join right away, okay? We're going to give you the option to join either monthly or yearly. I'm going to tell you the difference right now. The monthly price, I'm going to say monthly investment, is only $49 a month to access everything I told you. I actually added it up one time. It's $1,643 worth of value when you first sign up. Value. And you only pay $49 to get in. Okay, that's one option. The other option that I actually highly recommend over this one is doing the yearly, the annual, which is $490 a year. And it will auto bill every year. You can cancel at any time so that you don't get billed that next one if you only want to stay in for a year. But this one, clearly, do the math, you get 2 months free. And why do I recommend doing the yearly, because it's like drawing that line in the sand. Hey, I'm going to commit to this. I'm going to do this. I'm going all in. It's such a small investment for what you get. Imagine if someone told you that you could end your emotional eating and it only costs that much. Are you kidding me? I know you're going to get there if you follow the program and you do the things. There's Con Marie. She says yearly is worth it. I'm a founding member. She's been here since the very beginning. Jude, the family is support where there's always someone there to help you out or talk to you, literally to coach you. I feel encouraged and inspired in the family. Blanca, you're in. Yeah, that's what I coached you the other day. That was inside the family. Rochelle says, I feel supported and better understood. Hello, Australia. Good morning. She says the family is life-changing. Amazing. Thank you, my friends, for pitching in some thoughts there. Those folks have been in since the beginning, and we've been open for over 2 years. So that tells you something about the value that you get in there. That's it. That's all I got to say. I got to go to my coaching call. Oh, thank you so much for saying this. I'm also a founding member. It's life-changing and totally worth it. Thank you for pitching in your thoughts there. So we want to see you in there. Just join for a month. See how you feel. Oh, Jude says, I started with private coaching with Nancy 3 months, and you get access to the family with your private coaching. That's true. I then did the rest of the year monthly. Had to take a break recently, but I've come back and paid for a year. It's so worthwhile. Wow, Jude, look at the investment that you've made in yourself, and it feels all so worth it to do. If someone told you that they could end your emotional eating, what would that be worth to you, right? Would it be worth a year, some studying, some camaraderie, some support, a little bit of an investment? What would it be worth to you to say that struggle could be over for you? I would love to bring you there. Okay. Thank you so much for your thoughts, friends, and for being with me in this strange call where I was super emotional in the beginning. If you hadn't watched the beginning, yes, this would be priceless. I want to see you in there. If you haven't watched the beginning of this call and you want to watch me cry a lot, watch the beginning. All right, I had to go. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to be back tomorrow for the last day of our 4-day workshop. I'm sending you all my love. Same time, same place tomorrow. Have a good night. Bye.